Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Sharnice. Hello, and welcome to my channel. So, are you ready for a new book review? So if you're ready for one, it's a good Christmas book review for you guys this week with 6 different amazing authors who made Christmas holiday short stories all in one book. So if you're ready to hear all the tea I got to say about this book, go ahead and sit back and relax and continue watching. But before you get to continue watching and enjoying the show, how about go down below and subscribe. See, I just went down below and hit that subscribe button, and while I was down there I hit the cool gray notification bell so I will eventually be notified for all the other videos that I'm going to put up on my channel. And once you're down there and doing all of that, go ahead and hit the like button. You're gonna like this video, I really hope so. This was a great book as well, and share it so other people that you know can listen to all I got to say about this book. Now you can sit back and relax because you did all your duties, and continue watching, and let's get started with this video. Okay, so for this week's book review is going to be over this book, Naughty or Nice. And it is short stories around Christmas that 6 authors collectively made to be in this book. And then you can check out more of their other books that they did after the fact. So this is kind of like introducing you to 6 authors if you don't know them already, and see how they write. And if you love what they did in these short story, then you can check them out. So there are 6 different ones. The first one was called Sexy Scrooge, and I'm not gonna really go really in depth of in detail what the stories are about, because since they're short stories, I don't want to give you it all away. So I want you to go and grab this book yourself and read these short stories, because it just flies on by, these cool great short stories. So the first one is called Sexy Scrooge, and it was about 4 chapters of greatness. This book is by Keeland and Penelope Ward. I'm not great at names, so if it's not right, sorry. So this book was 4 chapters, as I was saying. The 2 main characters of this book that was all about, their names were Adam and Meredith, and it was like a sweet, wholesome story. They met in an Uber during like Christmas Eve. It was like really like a Christmas miracle how they just ran into each other, literally bumped into each other in this Uber, and in that short period of time they kind of like started to like each other. And this story kind of really shows like things happen for a reason, and things just unexpectedly happen, especially like in relationships or starting relationships, starting to know new people. Everything happens for a reason. Something new happens, and here it is, and it jumps right in your face sometimes. And this is kind of how this story really is. But at the end of the story, I kind of was left, it was like a happy ending, but I was kind of left like, where is these characters gonna go? Is it just this one night? It just felt like it was just this temporary one night business. It was a really good story, and I really enjoyed it. So that was the first one, called Sexy Scrooge. The second book was called Christmas Baubles, and this is by one of my favorite authors. I read almost all her books but 2. So it is by Jodi Malpas, and for her short story, it was just one big luscious chapter, and it was amazing short story ever. So the 2 main characters in this book that was about, their names were Sean and Shannon, and they kind of met at the mall of doing last minute Christmas shopping, and they bonded over being the procrastinators of not buying Christmas presents earlier, and they made a little challenge, and they just started to like each other more and more as the day went. Of this story and how this story began was so great. It was good. It caught you right in into everything. You fell for the characters, and it was amazing. It was like sweet, and like it was very unexpected for the characters, because they went into just buying Christmas presents and not really trying to get a relationship or liking someone. So it was very unexpected for them. You can feel it, and it's great. This along was like a cool Christmas miracle of like, this happened to me this Christmas, and it was great. So this story was a chunk full of greatness, and I really loved it. And it makes you want to be the characters, and how it was written. You felt the characters, you were in the characters, you were the characters that the story is about. And I just really loved it. Well, all these stories could really be a potential of a full like book form of 3 books, a whole story. These 2 characters, I would 100% read 3 full books stories of these 2 characters. These 2 characters was great. I hope she like expands on these 2 characters one day in the future, because this was awesome. I really liked it. So Christmas Baubles was the 2nd book by Jodi and Malpas, and it was great. The 3rd book was called The Naughty List, and woo! This was a erotic story, and this was by Emma Chase. And yes, this was a really hot and erotic compared to the other stories, and it was great. It was good. Like, oh my god, these 2 characters' names were Jace Winters and Evie Sanders, and they work in the bar together. And like, when you read these short stories, it was like 3 different parts. Some of the authors had chapters, or 1 chapter. Emma and another author I talk about later did parts, and this was just 3 different parts. And when you read throughout the parts, you know what the Naughty List was about, and it was juicy. It was good, especially the ending. It made me excited. It made me happy. It was so good. It was a very love, romantic, hot story, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. What you get out of this story, basically, like, always speak up and like take a chance, because someone might have the same feelings for you that you don't even know. So take a chance and take the leap to like ask them out, or say that you like them, and just be open. And yeah, so that's what I kind of got out of this story, and it was very good. The 4th book in this short story novel was called Joyous, the Quantum Story, and it was by Marie Force. And when you start reading this, you locked in like the others were. You locked into the story. You can feel what the characters were. But to me, when I first started, before I got to like the end of the chapters, you can tell that these characters were from another story that the author has made before. You can just feel that these characters were well developed, well known. You can tell that these characters were just like plucked up from another story and put into this, and continued on with their story in this Christmas scene. So it was really good, and I enjoyed that from that. And so this was 4 wonderful chapters, and the characters were named Flynn Godfrey and Natalie Godfrey, and it's different compared to the other stories that I have mentioned before, that these characters are married, and which the other characters didn't know each other beforehand. These 2 are married, and they have like a baby on the way, and it was really cool. And these 4 chapters, also how it was different, that it was in the man's point of view. It was told by the man, Flynn, where the others before this one was told by the woman in the story. So it was really good. So like I said, once you get done with the story, and the author says a little thing afterwards, before I even knew this, I have later found out that the Flynn and Natalie were characters from a different series. Like I said, I felt that before I even knew this. So they are. And this was called, and their series of books are called Quantum Series. So yeah, and there's like 3 stories with their story, and then there's other stories that's in the Quantum Series, but with other friends that you were introduced in this story. And it makes you want to learn and read what they're all about, and want to know their story. After I got done with this little short story, I really want to know what Flynn and Natalie was about, and their story, and how they met, and all that itty gritty in between the lines what happened with them. So there's 3 stories are called Virtuous, Valorous, and Victorious, and those are their 3 stories of books of Natalie and Flynn. So yeah. The 5th story of this short story book was called Holiday Lift, and this was by Corinne Michaels, and it was 4 chapters of wonderfulness, of loveliness, and the main 2 characters in this, their name was Dean and Holly, and is called Holiday Lift, so they kind of, the whole stories around in the elevator, just so you know. So Dean and Holly knew each other beforehand, and then they got stuck in the elevator kind of way, and then their story developed from there in this short story. So just so you know, and it was really, like I'm saying, that it was really good. Like these were awesome stories. A little different about this short story of the 4 chapters, it was in Holly's point of view in her mind, and then it was in Dean's point of view in his mind. It was kind of cool like that. It was different from the others, so you get this the treat of knowing what's going on in both of their minds. It was a sweet loving story. I really love this one. Yeah, you should check her out. And the last one was called Best Christmas Ever, and it was by Suzanne Stoker. And this story was in 2 different parts. The first part was called The Accident, and the second part was called The Angel. And how this story was different compared to all the rest, it was all in first person, and you got to be developed into the story. You got to feel the characters, be the characters, and be up close and personal with their lives of these characters. And that's where all the other characters were, and you really can feel and be and enjoy the story. But for this one, it was in third person, where it was kind of like you were looking down and you're like bird eyes view onto this relationship, and you listening to a person tell you there's this other couple's story. And for me, the story was good. It was great concept of the story, but for me, like, stories that are in third person, I can't really get into the story that well. I don't feel for the characters like I do when I read like a first person story. I don't have no feelings toward the characters or feeling towards the situation, or I guess not the situations, but like feel for more of the characters and the story as a full, and it just made me feel more bored reading the story. The story was good. It has a great concept all around, and it was still a great story, but for me it just felt boring to read, and I was like okay, next. Like I wanted to feel for the characters and be the character to really get the grasp of the story. So that I was kind of let down that I was in third person, but that was just me. If you like third person stories, it's fine. It's still a good story, but for me, I didn't really cherish the story as well as I should, so that was kind of a letdown. But also it was different because these 2 characters in this story, their names were Christopher King and Sienna Brinfield, and these 2 characters are like in their 40s, older than like the stories that I always read, and they each have a kid in the army. So it was cool like that. I like how it was different, that they're more of older individuals that became and found each other. I don't get to read those kind of stories, so I like that in the story as well. But overall, it was still a great story. But so if you like third person stories like that, it's great and it's fine. You'll love it. But I just couldn't really get into it. So yeah. So that was all the 6 stories that was in this Naughty or Nice novel, and it was amazing and great. I really glad that I got this book and read it, because all these short stories were amazing. I give this book as a whole 5 out of 5 stars. It was great. So I hope you like this little book review of this cool Christmas short stories. I enjoyed reading it. I hope you enjoyed this book review, and I hope I made you really want to really get this book, because it's fantastic. And before you go, if you haven't already, go down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that great notification bell so you'll be notified for other book reviews that I do and all the other videos that I do throughout the week. And hit that like button, please. I really appreciate it and really help me out as well. And go ahead and hit that share button so others can see this book review that I did, and so they can see if they really want to get this book. So yes, share it please. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for getting this far in this video and learning all of everything of this book and knowing all of the tea. So thank you so much for watching. I think I already said that. I'm going crazy. I see you next time with another book review, and bye guys.